I want to have a comparison of the original Aurora Thunder Jet 500 cars versus the currently available Auto World Thunder Jet Ultra Gs. And Ultra G means it has a traction magnet on it. So before we get in too far, I'm biased because I've spent most of my time in the last 2-3 years with the original Aurora Thunder Jets like this one, either reviving them, running them, breaking them in or whatever, and racing with some buddies. So consider I'm a little biased. And the bottom line is both the Auto World cars and the Aurora cars, they're fun. There's a lot to be said for both of them, but they are different. And I know the first question everyone has is which one's faster, and hands down, no matter which way you measure it, top speed, lower lap times, however you want to look at it, the Auto World is faster. So the conclusion I get out of that is you're really, without doing a lot of work, you're not going to be able to race the original Aurora ones and the Auto World ones as you receive them. But I'm really not looking at making the ultimate fastest slot car. I'm really looking at characteristics that are needed so you can have fun, casual racing with your friends and family. So I'm not trying to make the fastest single race car either. So what I'm looking for are batches of similar cars that can be raced together and have fun. Basically where the driver makes a difference and it's not a matter of the car. So what do we have here? This is pretty much an original Aurora car. This was actually one of my rescues. It had a couple thick coats of paint on it. I put it in simple green and stripped it, revealing a car in pretty decent shape. The windows got some scratches. The simple green took off the chrome plating, but the typical, just run-of-the-mill standard Aurora stock Thunder Jet. I've pushed out the back wheels as wide as they would go, and I replaced the original rubber tires with silicones. Part of that is it's getting hard to find original rubber tires or an equivalent that aren't hard and dried up. So the silicone tires basically evens the playing field. So all my cars have the same tire, and they do provide quite a bit better traction than the original rubber tires. Now, right off the bat, the comparison with the Auto World Thunder Jet and an Auto World car is different because they really base these cars off of an improved version that Aurora made called the Tough Ones. Much wider wheels and tires, different gearing, so you get a lot higher top speed, a lot more powerful motor. The guts of the motor, the magnets and the armature are better, stronger, faster. Did I mention gear ratio? But the big thing with the Auto World cars is this traction magnet. So that makes it quite a bit different animal than the original Aurora Thunder Jet. And to fit that magnet in, the wheelbase had to be stretched out just a little bit. And if you compare these cars side by side, it's a little bit difficult to tell, but the Auto World is just a touch bigger. Now, if we look at the Mustangs here, one's a 69, one's a 70, basically the same body. If I line up the back bumpers, quite a difference in size. So some of the Auto World cars can be notably bigger than an equivalent Aurora one. So that's what we have as far as content, but the important part is when the rubber hits the road, or in this case the track, or in this case silicone too. So I'll see if I can set this up so we can do it. So I can show this a little bit. So as far as track testing, I've got the voltage set at 18 volts. and we're using an 80 ohm controller. And this car is very controllable, and the track is set up with a nice, reasonably long straight, so you got to go full throttle and totally let off or brake for the curve. And what people really like about these is the term they use is they've got to drive them. And if you're racing or trying to put in your best lap time, it's really about finding the edge of that performance envelope. And on these, you can see the tail drifts out. That's how you know you're getting pretty close to basically crashing. So it's really a charming experience. So that's what makes these really fun. And you know, you need to have good control to do this, and you need to have a track that's a little bit challenging, especially when you have beginners, but not too challenging for the beginner. And you know, when you have all those ingredients, and you practice your driving, you can run off 10 or so laps. Now, usually if I was pushing it really hard, I probably would crash within 10 or 15 laps. But this is really fun. I can do this for a long time, and it just makes time just disappear. The old Dolly melting watch sort of thing. Now, if we take the Auto World one, it's definitely faster. You can really dip through the corners much faster on the straight, but you're pretty much driving the same. Full throttle, I've got to let up to make the first turn. Give it a little bit, maybe a little shot of throttle into the before the chicane. I'm really trying to manage the road course part as fast as possible. And the Auto World cars, they're just easy to put it on the track and rip off 10 or 20 laps without the car coming off the track. So, and good example, you can drift these occasionally a little bit, but typically once the magnet isn't over one of the track rails, the car goes flying off the track. Usually it's pretty high speed. You know, if it hits one of my retaining walls, it gives it a pretty hard thump. Now, one of the things about these cars, if you're on a track that doesn't have a long straight, and really I would prefer maybe a little bit longer straight. This is on an 8-foot table. If we went out to 10, I think that would be better. But you could get to a point easily where the best thing to do is just drive these almost at a constant throttle. So that's what you get into with magnet cars. Depending on how twisty the track is, or if you don't have a long enough straight, you know, it might be best if you're in a race, most consistent to just run a constant throttle. So I try to avoid that with all my tracks. But it's a little bit harder to avoid with a car like this. So hopefully I sort of explain the differences in my subjective way here, in my little stream of consciousness ramblings. But that's sort of my take on it, and that's my opinion. If you have a different experience or opinion, I'd love to hear it. I really don't learn anything from someone who agrees with me all the time, so I appreciate a little bit of debate as long as it's pleasant. And so let me know what you think in the comments. This is kind of a tough one. I hope there's some interest in it, because I wasn't sure where I was going to go with it till I actually started looking at this, comparing the two. But they're both fun. They're not the same. They're quite a bit different. So if you're looking at either one of them, hopefully this helps. Thanks for watching.